I love the ability to create an image by layering pieces of paper. I also love the unexpected things that happen in collage and the ability to put pieces down, have a look, arrange them, take them off if they don't suit. There is an inherently playful quality about that. Overall, my style is intricate, layered, and painterly in its approach. Often there's also a strong female element. It's so fundamental to who humans are to make things. It's life-affirming, it's joyful. I'm going to be taking you through how to do your own collage today, and we're going to be doing a native flower. Today I've chosen a waratah because it's a bit of a showstopper and it's a good lesson in terms of how to do something that looks really graphic and bold and expressive, but actually can be simplified down into its various parts for collage. You'll need a piece of paper to do your sketch on, a piece of watercolour paper as well to lay your collage down. I also like to have a whole range of colours and textures on hand, and I paint the paper beforehand. But you can also use coloured card, you can use gift wrapping paper for instance, you can also cut up magazines. We're going to start by sketching out the image of a waratah on a piece of paper. Each component of the sketch is going to be translated into a piece of paper, so think about simplifying it into basic shapes. So next we're going to sketch out the image on the tracing paper. Probably something that you might have done at school. You want to press down with your pencil and make it quite a dark line. There's some elements that are a little more planned out and deliberate. And then as you work into the detail, you can be a little bit more free-flowing with it. Now we're going to begin tracing the shapes onto the piece of coloured paper, and we're going to start with the stem. We go to our green paper. What colour would suit the waratah stem? We're going to flip this paper over so that we're working on the back. And we're going to also flip our traced image so that it's pencil side down. And what I'm doing is I'm following along this line. The sketch image will transfer onto the back of this sheet of green paper. Time to cut out our stem. Take the stem and lie it down along the corresponding part of the sketch. I like to add more textural detail and highlights, and that's what really gives a painterly feeling. So I'm going to add a slightly darker green to the stem. I really like this piece of paper, slightly darker than the existing stem, so I think it will work really well. A little daub, lay it down, and then you have a stem. I'm influenced a lot by illustration. The most famous collage picture book artist is Eric Carle. I'm sure if I say the Very Hungry Caterpillar, people have an image in mind. Eric Carle's work is extremely expressive, so he painted pieces of tissue paper, created beautiful textures, you know, daubs of paint, splotches, splatters. Yeah, really kind of immediate, joyful, graphic image that he created. I like to work from big to small. In the case of this flower, I would start next with the leaves, and then I would start with the larger petals and then going to the finer petals. When I began doing collage, I worked in a bit of a freer style really, just using scissors and cutting out more basic shapes, and I've just found that this style suits me. Tracing, laying the piece of paper down, having a look at if it sits right. I'm really happy to be doing this, so it just gives me a lot of pleasure, and it's a really meditative process actually. For today I've pre-cut some of the petals. I'm taking the petals and I'm going to line them up. I've used a variety of different reds and pinks. I'm not actually sticking the image onto the paper. You certainly can if you want to. I prefer to make a free floating flower and then I can stick it onto a piece of watercolour paper once it's finished. So I'm just layering up the smaller petals. I am particularly interested in terms of broad art movements by German expressionists because they use such vivid colour and they stepped right away from naturalism. Also the Fauves, who also used colour so expressively and emotionally. And then I'm drawn to tapestry design. I love the intricacy and all the folk motifs that they use. Before I go on with the top section, I'm going to add a few highlights. I'm going to get a light pink and I'm just basically freely cutting. I'm not going to trace for this. You can have fun with this. Sometimes it's useful to squint, see the broad forms and shape of the flower. It's coming to life. This is the one we've done for today, the simple version to start with. I really like adding lots and lots and lots of painterly, intricate detail. This is one that I did earlier. Basically tiny little bits of paper to really bring it alive, make it as textural as possible. You can have a lot of fun adding as much detail as you want. If you're starting collage, just remember it's about exploring, finding a technique that really works for you and that you enjoy. People should try collage just to try something new, especially if they're coming from a place where they think, oh, I haven't drawn in a while or I haven't painted. It's super accessible. You pick up a pair of scissors and you get some paper and you get another sheet of paper and you start doing some collage.